to the Cinementalists. Noun, plural. Definition, those whose love for movies runs so deep, they can't help but do a podcast about them. Hosted by Colton Robertson and Joseph George. Hello everybody and welcome in to the Cinementalists. Today we continue our anticipation for Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning with the franchise's second installment, Mission Impossible 2. It was released on May 24th, 2000, written for the screen by Ronald D. Moore, Brandon Braga, and Robert Towne, directed by the legend John Woo. I'm Colton Robertson. I'm joined by Joseph George. What's up, homie?
Oh, what up, what up? Always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it is always a pleasure to have you. And we got another great installment here. This is your first official new territory. You'd seen Mission Impossible 1. That's the only one you've seen, and you'd only seen it once. Now you're in the clear. There's nothing you know about the rest of these movies. How'd you feel about Mission Impossible 2?
Yeah. This from the first movie, this is not what I was expecting number 2 to quite be like. But then, now that I'm, after the movie's over, maybe hindsight's 2020, just having John Woo attached to it, I guess I should have expected it to go down more this route. Because I guess the only John Woo I've seen is Hard Boiled, I think. Yeah. And that,
Probably.
oh my god, yeah. That's just the dude. The dude knows how to do some gunfights and some explosions in slow mo and
it wouldn't be a John Woo action sequence without a motorcycle exploding at some point. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he's got to. I feel like he's got to just hit some marks. It's like Michael Bay. He's just known for just explosions everywhere. Is just kind of like everything will explode if Michael Bay is attached. I feel like John Woo is just like, yup, a motorcycle will explode. He loves
guns
birds.
Are getting fired.
Doves
yes,
are doves.
Birds.
Yeah.
Birds are a big time motif in his work. He loves him some birds. Birds.
Yeah.
I love John Woo, man. He is. It's incredible that he's as fantastic a director as he is. This franchise is as awesome as it is. Do you know how fucking awesome a franchise has to be for me? For John Woo to direct an action movie.
Yep.
And Tom Cruise to be at the absolute zenith of his sex appeal. Just
True.
the sexiest he's ever been. So fucking fine. Thandiwe Newton, so hot and so great. Anthony Hopkins, this great shady IMF agent. Doug Ray Scott, great villain. All of these things. For John Woo to direct Tom Cruise at his sexiest, and it is probably, and certainly for me, bottom 2 Mission Impossible.
Okay.
That's incredible. That's incredible.
Yeah,
like that's how good
2.
this franchise is.
It's weird. I guess it's weird that I haven't seen the rest of them, but I kind of had this feeling. I feel like this is the Mission Impossible if you just want to have just a fun time. If you it feels, even though again I haven't seen the rest, it feels detached kind of from the rest of them in a way.
Well,
I don't know.
That's kind of the appeal of the first 4 Mission Impossible movies is that you can watch any of them and it'll be fine. Like if you've never seen any of the other ones, you could watch any of the first 4 and it would be fine.
This now, this is making much more sense.
Like they are kind of more adventure of the week sort of vibe, and they do eventually come to a point whenever they start calling back a little bit. The characters get brought through. There's connections a little bit more, but. Just as far as filmmaking is concerned, obviously John Woo and Brian De Palma are incredibly different, and both incredible in their own regard. Next week we have J.J. Abrams, who is not a director that's as good as Woo or De Palma, but I really enjoy Mission Impossible 3. Something you'll hear me say over the next couple weeks is that there are no bad Mission Impossible movies. I don't think there is. I think that these are all a great time. I think that they're all well done. I think that the action is astounding in this one. This is the leap, from Mission Impossible to here, we lost the paranoia, the thrill, the thriller, but that sexy action is still there, and I think that's something that they never lose sight of. And it's kind of fun to see the franchise take a little bit from each movie with every succeeding movie. Like everything, they take elements that are unique to each movie and end up compiling them to the point where we're at 7 going on 8 now. And I feel like there's a little bit of everything in every movie, which is great.
That's kind of, I wonder if that was kind of the idea of the first cut. Like they're like, well, we have a franchise here, but let's just give it to different directors each time and have a new take, and just like, let's make the movie of the time, or just whatever, I don't know, whatever it happens to be.
And talk about movie of the time, buddy. This is a 2000-ass movie.
Oh my God. I love that I'm born in this year. That this is like a movie that came out when I was born. This is
I was 5 months old. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm fresh out. Wait, what? Yeah, this is May.
You're 2 months. You're 2 months old.
I'm 2 months. I'm fresh. This is just the current state of the world.
I'm 4 months old. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, just
that's
the extreme music, the like I don't know.
Hans Zimmer, by the way.
Wait. This is Hans Zimmer?
Yeah.
Wow,
yeah, no, that's why I respect.
Damn.
I respect whenever people say, it's kind of hard to be like, Hans Zimmer's not one of the greatest, I just think that obviously his high points are very, very high. Interstellar is incredible. The Dune score is incredible. Those are probably my 2 favorites of his. But he's done a lot, and a lot of what he's done I consider to be kind of unremarkable.
Yeah. Did he like the OG, like the dun 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 dun? Was that in the first movie? Would I kind of am spacing out. I don't feel like I remember it in the first movie.
It is. It is, but it's used very, very sparsely. They do not go back to it a lot.
So he didn't create that, or
no? That's by Lalo Schifrin. And that's the original theme for the series from the 60s.
That's right.
So like it's been around a long time. And I think he incorporated it really interestingly, but that was something that I really enjoyed about the first Mission Impossible movie, is that like I think the first time you hear it is whenever, and I might be mistaken, maybe someone's listening screaming at their device like, shut the fuck up, Colton, you don't know what you're talking about. But it's whenever Ving Rhames is like, hey, you think we could pull this off? And Tom Cruise is like, we're gonna do it. And then it like dun 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 dun.
Okay.
I think that's when they cut to them driving to the fucking Langley. And I think that this obviously, I mean, it's plain and simple. It's just not as good a movie as the first one. It isn't, but it is just such a fun time, dude. The entire opening where he's recruiting Thandiwe Newton is one of my favorite parts of the franchise. I think it's hilarious. I love the sequence whenever he is, he's undercover as the security, the head of their security, but he's also recruiting her. How long of a con did he have to run for this to work out?
Yeah. Bro's got cons everywhere. Like, this is just one of his many personalities, I feel like.
Yeah, like he had to be like, oh, perfect, she'll be there. Like, how do you arrange something like that? That's crazy. I love how capable they make Ethan Hunt, and while this is one of the worst Mission Impossible movies, it's one of the best James Bond films. I'll tell you that much. There's Tom Cruise gets to do a little bit more of a Sean Connery Bond sort of vibe. I think he gets to be all sex appeal and little regard for life. And not little regard for life. He's still got that quintessential Ethan Huntness to him.
True.
But Thandiwe Newton is a great Bond girl, one of the best Bond girls ever. Doug Scott is an incredible Bond villain. That's what's kind of funny is that this does feel like John Woo took his chance to make his Bond movie, which is funny.
Yeah, Tom Cruise is Bond. And but not quite, I don't know, not 100. Yeah, American Bond. Let's fucking ride. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, and that is a pretty. apt way to describe. Yeah, because it doesn't feel like the just the IMF or the espionage and the paranoia that did feel at least that's a large part of why I liked the first movie. And I guess I was like, maybe more action could have been nice, and because that's all I've known this series to be, is
Right.
action, action, action. And yeah,
But you
no,
were
I mean,
pleasantly surprised with that sort of like mystical, you're a spy,
Oh, yeah.
like, and they Thandie Newton's like, oh, you're a spy, like, I don't think he gets called a spy once in the first movie, and I don't know that he ever gets called a spy again,
Yeah.
I don't think the words Mission Impossible are actually uttered ever again either.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna have someone say them, Anthony Hopkins
Fair
is
enough.
as good a actor as any to deliver it. This is Mission Impossible, Mr. Hunt, not Mission Difficult. It should be no problem for you.
Yeah.
That's it's
They went for maximum like trailer lines. I feel or just I feel like that's like the energy of early 2000s is just like, let's just fucking everything.
Would you feel
has to
better
be
if I
hard
told
as
you I
shit.
didn't want you to do this? Yes, then feel better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's at first, I think in my review on Letterboxd, this is the one thing I'm taking back on is I said it's like a perfect balance of like over the top and not quite cheesy, but it's like it gets pretty.
It's pretty cheesy. It's pretty cheesy.
Yeah, it gets really cheesy. So,
But that's why I'm like, I don't think I don't think that works to its detriment necessarily. Like, I don't think the cheesiness is necessarily what makes the movie not as maybe it is. I think the movie's biggest sin is just being so 2000. Like it is aged unquestionably.
Yeah. Yeah, the Matrix just came out. They needed the
and they were
sunglasses.
and the leather jackets, like they were they were biting that. There's a shot where Tom Cruise looks at Thandie Newton and you see the reflection of her in his sunglasses. Like there's this is influenced by the Matrix, and I think that's cool. The Matrix was such a pop culture touchstone that like everything the next year was, like it was influenced by the Matrix, but it unquestionably dates this movie a little bit, and and that's funny because the first Mission Impossible doesn't feel dated at all. It doesn't. There's kind of a timeless classicness to it. It almost feels like it might be older than '96. And I think that makes it very cool. But it also could have been. It could have been 2010 for all I know. Like it's incredibly well done, and we'll run into this. I mean, I don't think it's necessarily an issue with Mission Impossible 3, but I think Mission Impossible 3 was '06, which, as we know, but like the middle of the aughts action films. You mentioned Michael Bay, that sort of like you'll be able to tell. You'll be able to tell it's a 2006 movie. But regardless, I think that's there's a certain charm to that. There's a certain charm to the idea that these films all have such a firm place in their own regard. Like we said last week, it's incredible that we are about to have the 8th Mission Impossible movie. And it's nearly 30 years after the first one came out with the same guys. Ving Rhames and Tom Cruise will be in that movie. Like that's Henry Czerny, the guy who was in the first one, Kittredge, he was in 7 and he's going to be in 8. Like that's that's the sort of connective tissue we're dealing with over such a long span of time that whenever something like it's almost aged to the point where it's become good that it's aged, which is weird. Like we've been doing this for so long that a movie early on in the franchise is like, oh yeah, wasn't that a long time ago? I don't know. Like that's funny. Like a quarter century ago, we got Mission Impossible 2, and it feels like it. That's cool.
That long. I mean, it's not like I'm like the same age as like it's not like we're like the same exact age as the movie or anything. It's not like it's too long ago, right? Like it, but no, I get your point. No, it is a weird that I'm jumping into it now, so I don't have any pre-standing kind kind of love or anything for it, but just knowing, like the only, I guess, other thing that I'm knowing about, or that I know of, like the Henry Cavill arm reload, the elbow reload. That's it. I think that is the only other detail I know.
The pocket that appears as if from nowhere. Yeah. There's a pocket on his shirt that when he does that, like kind of appears, and I can't tell if it's because they melded two shots where he's different shirts,
really,
or if it's because his pocket was just so seamlessly attached to like on his shirt that it appears.
Yet.
Oh yeah, you'll I mean, like it's not that big of a deal, but I remember people are like, "Where'd that pocket come from?" On Twitter, it's like one of those chest pockets that's just like for like a handkerchief or something.
The arm reload goes deeper. Yeah, he reloaded a pocket.
He reloaded his arm so hard he created a pocket on his shirt. That's
Henry Cavill. Different breed. Yeah, I guess.
Different breed. But no, and like that's what's cool too is that. I mentioned that J.J. Abrams is next week. I said last week that Brad Bird, the director of The Incredibles, did the fourth movie. After those, though, 5, 6, 7, and 8 are all directed by the same guy. So it does become a different franchise a little bit because there is a little bit more of a visual language continuity. There's a little bit more of a, performance continuity. Because, I love that Ethan Hunt, while he's still the same character, Tom Cruise is playing him way different in this movie than he was for Brian De Palma, and for J.J. Abrams, it's cool to see that there's just so many facets to Ethan Hunt, and I think that was the benefit of having so many different directors early on, is that you got to see a bunch of different sides of the character, and he became so well-rounded, You get to see it. You get to see him really vulnerable, and you get to see him paranoid, and you get to see him confident and just uber sexy, and like all these things. Like you get to see him in all of his facets. And then one director comes in, Christopher McQuarrie. He's seen all of this. Him and Tom Cruise have an incredible relationship as far as working together behind the camera, and they just get it. They just get what Ethan Hunt is supposed to be, and that's why. Early on, it was the right choice to have a bunch of different directors do this, take Ethan Hunt and do whatever they wanted with him, and then have someone later on refine it all and almost siphon it into something great. And I think that's why I enjoy the franchise a great deal. That's no secret. But I think that John Woo's edition here, while it's pretty widely considered amongst the bottom of the barrel here.
And I think, I don't know, maybe that's why I was so okay with it. I was like, while watching, it did surprise, like the very even opening of the scene, I thought that this was Ethan Hunt. For real, just
and you're like,
throat chop and then the neck snap, and I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, wait a minute, I was actually kind of pissed. I'm like, hold on a second, I thought Ethan Hunt was supposed to be this, super cool badass spy, but with the moral compass and all. And then I'm like expecting, okay, well maybe this doctor's done some bad shit, or I don't know. I'm like, so I'll figure out what he did, and then I'm like, oh, okay, so this is what I'm like.
The face swap thing is I love a good face pull-off reveal in Mission Impossible. This is something that, MI2 abuses it. This one abuses it, but it's not something we will completely lose sight of. We will definitely get a lot more reveals with the face pull-off moments. It's great. But one of my favorite things about this, and John Woo just a couple years earlier did Face Off with John Travolta and Nick Cage. I don't know if you're familiar with this movie. It's a movie wherever they literally switch bodies. Like John Travolta's character enters Nick Cage's body. Nick Cage's character enters John Travolta's body. So at the beginning of the movie, they're acting quote unquote like themselves, it's their character, but they like John Travolta's acting like John Travolta and Nick Cage is acting like Nick Cage. And then whenever they switch, Nick Cage starts acting like John Travolta and John Travolta starts acting like Nick Cage. And it's incredible. Like the performances they put on are really, really, really good because you're like, it's so believable that you are Nick Cage wearing a John Travolta mask instead of just being John Travolta, which is really, really cool. And that's one of the things I love about Tom Cruise in this movie, and it's why he's getting my performance, is when he's Doug Ray Scott. You know, whenever that character is wearing Tom Cruise's face, Tom Cruise is fucking good. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's whenever they cut from him, you know, taking off the doctor's mask, and he's like, yeah, we got him. And then they cut to him hugging Thandiwe Newton when he's trying to console her, and he's like looking down, and he's like, it's imperative that we don't let him know what we're doing, you know, like that you don't escape, you know, it's frightening. Tom Cruise is kind of scary. It's good, you know. That's why I had to go with Tom Cruise again for both performance and character. I was considering going with Thandiwe Newton's character this time around.
Yeah, it was. I like the idea of going with the less, you know, not going with Ethan Hunt, because I feel like everyone knows, you know, he's Ethan Hunt.
And
he's
Nia was cool, you know, she was willing to put her faith in Ethan in a way, you know, where she shoots up the Chimera, and you know she like, that's a big sacrifice play. Boom. But the reason she does it is because she's confident that Ethan can do something about it. You know, so it comes back around to being like, it's still about Ethan, even when it's about her being cool as fuck. You know, so I love Ethan Hunt, and it's hard for me to tell you that anybody else will ever be the character of the movie. Now, performance might go other places, but. Yeah, I mean, Ethan Hunt is just the beating heart. Tom Cruise as Ethan Hunt is the beating heart of the franchise, so it just makes sense.
Yeah, sadly, Ving Rhames, you know, as Luther, I was hoping he, you know, you said he was going to be returning a lot, and I was like,
underutilized
like
in this one.
Yeah, he kind of got sidelined a little bit. He had some, you know, like I don't know, I guess he loves his clothes, you know, and his fashion. Which is kind of funny, you know. He steps.
I just got these Gucci shoes.
Yeah, Gucci shoes and a what jacket? What was the like? It was
Versace. Was it Versace?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, Rose got Versace's jacket.
It was my Gucci shoes and Versace jacket. Yeah. But I was watching this with Emily last night, and I got to point out to her that he was Bubbles, and she got a kick out of that. I was like, he even looks like he's Bubbles, and she's like, you know.
Yeah.
But
man.
Yeah. No, Luther. Luther. You know, the only one that he's not like in is 4. I think he pops up like once. He's in like one scene, but he does become a bigger part of the movies. Like, this is Mission Impossible 1 is not like the biggest role he has. There's a certain thing that 3 does that makes it probably the most. I won't even get into it. We'll talk about it when we talk about it. But
the satellite doesn't work as fast as me, or whatever he said. I don't know. He's like, he does have his moments, but
yeah, he does. He does have his shit. Yeah, it is. I think you know, like it was funny. I enjoy the movie a great deal. It's a fun, casual viewing. You know, and that's the thing, is that, like I said, there's no bad Mission Impossible movies. I'm never gonna skip it. I'm never gonna, like, if I'm watching the Mission Impossible movies, I'm watching all of them. That's just how it's gonna be. And
yeah.
Is it a quintessential entry? Like, is it something that's like, oh, you gotta watch this? No, Thandiwe Newton's never in these movies again. Anthony Hopkins is never in these movies again. You know, like, this is a truly one-off adventure. The Chimera is never important again. The Bellaferon is never important again.
Anthony Hopkins, was he just like some separate third party, or was he like in the IMF, or like was he?
I think he was in the IMF.
Oh wow! So I guess I kind of thought he would come back around, because he seemed like he was kind of like, I don't know, like his ball, like the
similar to Kittredge, you know, like
yeah,
well,
like
and that's the thing. Kittredge didn't.
It seemed. I don't know.
Yeah, like, I'm like, Kittredge didn't come back until the 7th movie. So like, and that was 2 years ago. So like, that's why I'm like, I think they kind of prided themselves on having Tom Cruise and 1 or 2 other people who consistently return, and they got like a kind of a revolving door of stars to come in and pop in and do a thing for a second and dip. Which is cool, you know?
Perfect. Like, Tom Cruise just being such the talent he is, you can just kind of throw him in any. I feel like it's more of a test of the director. Everyone kind of knows, well, maybe not at this point, like Tom Cruise is the guy, but like, at least me watching. Yeah, like already. So like, even by 2, he's already just fucking, this is the guy. Yeah, I mean, he feels like it. I mean, he fucking plays it well. But
you mean Ethan Hunt or Tom Cruise?
No, yeah, Tom Cruise in real life.
Yeah,
Like,
Tom Cruise had
outside the
been,
movie.
he'd been a movie star
I guess,
for
yeah,
some time
that's
now.
true.
So
Yeah,
like,
the timeline of him is just actually stupid to think
oh,
about.
it's bizarre. It's bizarre.
I-
Yeah, he'd been famous for 17 years at this point.
yeah, that's okay. Okay, so yeah, he's the guy. I think, yeah, I guess it goes to prove my point even more, if he has been more famous, that Tom Cruise is kind of like the constant in every movie, and then each director just gets to put their input or their flavor on the
Yes.
Tom Cruise, and you just see, what would John Woo be like with a great action star, and his flavor
with Ethan
on
Hunt.
Mission
Yeah,
Impossible.
with Tom Cruise, Cruise and Mission Impossible. Yeah, and that, yeah, 100%. And that is absolutely like J.J. Abrams. His debut movie is Mission Impossible 3. He'd never done a movie. He'd never directed a movie prior to that. Like that's
Shit.
yeah, right. Like that's the kind of thing that obviously Tom Cruise has quite the pull. Like there's no doubt that like that was probably, I mean, handpicked by him essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, I really, really adore the spin that every director kind of gets to put on the guy, and that's what it's cool to see how adaptable Tom Cruise kind of is. I certainly think that when he agreed to do Mission Impossible with Brian De Palma, he hadn't thought he'd be doing this 4 years later. You know what I'm saying? But I love the idea that he saw an opportunity to get kind of wild with it. I think that's a lot of fun. And he probably approached it, like I said, like he had a little bit of that Sean Connery Bond in him, where he's all confidence, he's all swagger, and that's a lot of fun. And I have to imagine it's a lot of fun for an actor to play.
Yeah. I mean, two hot people just being badass. I don't know, driving like the freaking chase. Like I don't know,
Dude,
I'm
ludicrous.
too good. Yeah, whatever. You can't recruit me like that. I'm storming off, and then he calls her up on a number that she doesn't even know she has. And,
Yeah,
whatever.
Yeah, like
and
how
like, love it. I don't know. Ethan is just he is anything. Dude is, I don't know. I love how capable he is. But then this 360, the spin, just they locked mirrors, or I don't even know how the cars, it was just,
I don't know how there was a part whenever Tom Cruise does a full spin as they're crashing and he just keeps driving,
Yep.
like that's all that, like I love how ludicrous, and I love that he like prevents her from flying off the cliff by crashing into her at one point.
Boom.
Like
yeah, it was like the only option. Yeah, it's
incredible. And I love that that's how they're like, okay, all right, now I'm listening. That was cool. I really, really enjoy it. And my favorite scene of the movie is actually the horse races. That sequence is so much fun. I think it's the closest we get to the vibe of the first movie. Like we do have, like we're moving in secret, we're moving in silence, we're sneaking around, we're doing the thing, we're and the kind of payoff to it as well, whenever he puts the drive in his left jacket pocket and she puts it back in his right, and he like knows, and he like knows it's good, man. My right jacket pocket. You're like, oh no, yeah. I love it, man.
You're right.
Yeah.
That is kind of, I think, the closest to the first movie you got. It's like, the earplug arriving in the book. It's like, put this in. She's like, oh shit, they find each other with the binoculars, and it's
it's so good.
Yeah,
it's so good.
Yeah, I don't know. It was. I guess I don't know, the whole crux of everything. It felt like the virus and him infiltrating, and I don't know, all the it seemed like a 2001 inspired a little bit whenever he has this like the suit on and everything, and it's in like the red light, and then the whenever he destroys the three like in the petri dishes or whatever, I don't know, like the three,
it's got a little
it's
bit
like
of
how
that.
it's like fucking, it's like the red circle, I don't know, and it's I thought for a second it was gonna like start to like break down or some stupid, like I don't know how, it's a plant, I don't know why the computer would break down, but I thought it was gonna do some like scary computer shit for a little bit,
right?
No, I thought it was...
and a gorgeous movie, dude. John Woo has an incredible visual sensibility, and it really, really comes through here. I love whenever his face is lit up by like a spectrum of light.
Mm-hmm.
Gorgeous shit. Definitely probably amongst my favorite shots is when he is squatted back behind taking cover and the left side of his face is just kind of trimmed by rainbow lighting. Oh, dude, gorgeous. I love it.
Yeah, I don't know. He didn't care about, fake lighting, whatever. It was like, nope, it's red now. Nope, it's green. It's rainbow. I don't know, just
blue,
like whatever, whatever
it's
you
a little bit of
need.
everything.
And
I mean, that shot of him like leaning out of the helicopter, like whenever he's like horizontal across the top of your screen and the cityscape is below him, like, dude, gorgeous. Him free climbing.
Yep.
At the beginning of the movie, fucking dope as. It wouldn't be a vacation if I told you where I was going and shit like that. Like, yeah, dude.
Is that a repeated line? Is that? Well, I guess maybe it feels like it was just an Anthony Hopkins thing, or just
it was just for this movie. It's not one that we come back to again, but
yeah, kind of. This is his
good.
vacation. He just climbs the fucking. I don't even. What this is New Zealand or Australia or like where?
I can't remember where he was. Yeah,
but bro just gets up there and then they're like, all right, here's some Oakleys on a fucking missile that I thought these people were out here to kill him.
2000.
For one, I thought this thing was gonna blow up. I thought they were trying to assassinate Ethan Hunt.
And there's so many. Again, going back to the cheesy stuff. Whenever it like lands and he like just kind of giggles and shakes his head to himself, he's like, ha, ha, ha,
"Yep,
here we go again." Like that shit killed. Like, one of my favorite cheesy parts of this movie. That's just like, if I have one like legitimate gripe beyond the whole like, well, it's just so 2000 that it's kind of hard to ignore. The movie is long.
Yeah.
Probably too long for its own good. And one of the reasons is because we have sequences like when Thandiwe Newton shows up at Doug Ray Scott's place. Naya shows up at what's the character's name?
Ambrose?
Shit. Yes, Sean Ambrose. Shows up at Sean Ambrose's house, and she like arrives by boat, and she like walks up in slow motion, and he walks to her in slow motion, and her scarf flies off, her scarves fly off, and he catches them, and he puts them back on, and like that whole sequence is like 2 fucking minutes of the movie, and it's just them walking towards each other, and like that's so fucking funny,
satellite feed? Can we make it go faster, please?
Yeah.
And then the second it turns on, making out, he's like, fuck, damn it, dude.
Gah.
Oh yeah, he's just I don't know. Ethan
that
Cuck,
guy knows how to
for this
Cuck.
movie. Yeah, he's Ethan Cunt. Yeah, Ethan like cunt. It doesn't. I don't know. It kind of works, but not really. But
Ethan Cunt.
Yeah. He kind of. I don't know. It was just getting back with the. It was. She didn't. That I don't know, that one scene where he's like, it's gonna be impossible to convince her, and then literally convincing her was so easy. She was just like, I'm a thief. She's like, I don't have a conscience, and like whatever. But then it was just more of like, no, I want you to like actually not care a little bit. So it's like the dialogue is cheesy, but at least the beats are there.
Oh, the sentiment. The sentiment is there. They do a lot to, and I think there's a lot of great payoffs and callbacks to that. Later on in the movie, whenever he's like, "I thought you didn't have a conscience," she was like, "I'm a liar." That I'm a thief. I lie. I think it's a great time, regardless of how iffy some of it is done. It's so much fun. It's just such a great time that it's hard for me to have I will say, as this was your first viewing, my first viewing, not knowing anything that came next, I wasn't a huge fan. It wasn't until I'd watched the whole franchise and kind of gathered that the charm of the franchise was how unique every movie was. Fresh off of the first Mission Impossible, I'm like, oh, this one's not very good at all. But then kind of going forward, I can kind of gauge the way the rest of the franchise works and kind of go, oh, you know what, this has a lot going for it, and it is a great time. So I ultimately I do have a blast with it. I think Tom Cruise is, as always, just perfect as Ethan Hunt. I think it's a gorgeous movie. I think that like while it could have benefited from a little bit more of that thrilling spy espionage stuff, I do enjoy the horse track. I think that's a great part of the movie. I think that the kidnapping of Brendan Gleeson and having him in a hospital room and making him think it was a dream. That whole sequence is awesome.
Damn, dies of influenza. Bro thinks he's about to get assassinated, and then he just wakes up at home. But it's not. I don't know. He did actually have that. Yeah, that is fucked. That is like, it played with my mind of like that. Not that I think I'm being spied on or anything, but how would you know? Because if they're a good spy, like if they are a good spy, then they would be undetected. You would not know that they are spying on you. So it's like, it's just this weird, like, how many times have I just like looked the other way while someone was, I don't know, like sneaking by. It's just like, have I ever seen a spy in real life? Probably, but I wouldn't. I would have zero clue. They're out there, and they're just people, and it's crazy that this life does exist.
Like you exist, like there are people who just do this essentially, which is
maybe not.
It is pretty crazy.
I don't know.
They're
gassing out limousines and making. I don't know. Shit. We probably have the capability of like masking someone up and having someone truly believe it is like that person. The voice emulator thing is interesting. That's the only thing that seems kind of like, well, I don't know if we got something like that. But I feel like, I don't know. I feel like we have used this mask technique actually in real life. I wonder if I don't know. I wonder if we're there yet.
I don't know, and it would make sense that we wouldn't know if we were.
That's true.
I think that, and that's why we just have so much to look forward to. Like this exactly what we're talking about gets played with a lot more in 3. The masks and the voice emulators, and they kind of show they just kind of show us them putting on the masks and them taking off the voice emulators, but they actually show how they program it in the third one, and it's a lot of fun.
Like that.
That's sick. That's sick.
Like.
You'll like 3 a lot. I think 3 catches a bad rep. 2 and 3 tend to be looked at as the bottom of the barrel.
Okay.
I really have a tough time not loving 3 though. I don't know. But that's the thing, is that it would probably that's what's crazy. It would probably still be bottom 2, even though I fucking love it. That's what's that's what I love about the franchise, is that it's so full of such great movies, and man, it's electric. It's electric, and this one keeps the ball rolling. But
no tease for the next one. You're right, that it could be, even this one could be the last Mission Impossible movie. They could have ended it here. It would be kind of weird. I don't know. Maybe to end it here. It feels like you should keep it going, but just because I know that there's 8, the 8th one's on the way. Right. But yeah, I could have jumped to 3. I guess he has this experience, but there's still even, I guess there's a little mystery or callback in here of he had 2 other times that he's been cloned for or masked up for or something that, and Ambrose was his double or something like that in the past. Which is kind of crazy. So I don't know, and I don't know if that'll even ever, if that matters, or I feel like they mentioned specifically locate. He's like, no, that doesn't matter, or that we don't. I don't know. He seemed to avoid one of the times, or I don't. But he didn't give any details of what it was. But yeah, I don't know. I'm ready for more of the IMF, or the more of the I don't know, just the other characters to kind of just play a little bit more of a factor and be, I don't know, Luther. It would have been nice for him just to have something a little more, and then the other agents were just kind of well, there's that Australian guy that's kind of funny every now and then there's that one pilot, or is that the same?
That's definitely
dude?
what gets it. I think it is the same dude.
Okay.
That's definitely something that gets better. I think it's something that the first movie had in spades, was that the supporting cast was brilliant. Everybody was just on in that, and in this one, it is kind of focused on Thandie Newton, Tom Cruise, and Doug Ray Scott, and everybody else is just kind of there. I do love Sean Ambrose's right-hand man, Hugh Stamp, played by Richard Roxburgh. Really, really good performance there by him. And not like nothing that's like groundbreaking or anything. We're not recreating the wheel or anything. But man, I think he does a great job.
I don't know that twist there. That was the one.
Yeah.
The one that I was like, oh no, this has to be. Like he's not talking. Like I don't know. I this is the only one that I like just knew kind of from the jump that this was gonna be a mask reveal. But every other one, it kind of I don't know. None of the twists were like or like holy like I don't think they were that crazy, but like this one was just the most satisfying. I think this one was just to watch it play
when he's got
out
the tape underneath.
Ooh,
Yeah, and again, it's so well done. Whenever he he sees the bandage on the finger and it like zooms in on his eyes and you can tell he's like horrified. He just shot his best homie and like
8 times.
Good stuff,
bro. Let the clip. I mean, what did he say?
This is what you call getting your gun off.
Yeah. And, oh man, damn. Ethan is one bad dude. This is
one bad man.
I guess he will kill. He's not.
He
doesn't have a no kill.
That's
rule,
one of the things that and it's kind of clear that collateral damage is not something he'll tolerate, though. If he can prevent the death of innocents.
That's true.
He will, but if you're in his way, he'll do what he has to. Yeah, exactly. He's not going to preemptively kill you because, like, even Doug Ray Scott at one point goes like, and he'll try to come in through the ceiling because he's not going to risk harming a hair on a security guard's head and all that stuff, So I think it's cool. That sequence was great too. The infiltration and Doug Ray Scott kind of narrating exactly what Tom Cruise will do. Good stuff.
Yeah, I didn't even think that whenever Doug Ray Scott walks into the building after, like, it looks so Matrix-esque. Whenever Neo walks in and goes through the metal detectors, it looks like the same, like, kind of lobby a little bit, like just stone everywhere.
Similar, for sure.
A little bit, but yeah, that whole, I don't know, the ending, I thought, it's crazy. There's a whole virus that could. I love that the threat is slowly expanding. It was just the IMF list, in the first movie. Now, it's possibly, maybe the whole world, but it was just seeing maybe Australia, New Zealand, whatever.
Well, and even then, several would die, but they were going to sell the cure, and it was going to save more people. It was just going to make Sean Ambrose really rich, and I really enjoyed that. That part of the movie whenever he's like, I don't just want your 30 million, I want to buy your stock with that 30 million.
We'll borrow the 30 million, use it to buy this. I can't do fucking, no, that was terrible. I don't know what.
Yeah, he had a Scottish thing going on. You went a little Russian.
Yeah.
You went a little
I don't know
Russian,
why I went Russian there. Yeah, I went
I tend to go Russian,
which was weird.
I don't know why, like, whenever I'm imitating people, I tend to go Russian, even if they're not, and I don't know why.
I don't know if this is offensive. Maybe they'll, I just feel like henchmen in general are just kind of Russian, or they have just been in movies. Like if there's just a bad guy,
movies historically,
true.
Yeah, like especially 80s, post Cold War, we tend to make Russians villains in our movies. I mean, like pretty much any European accent, if I don't modulate myself, I'll end up slipping into Russian. There's no doubt. There's no doubt I'll get there eventually. But yeah, no, I did quite enjoy Doug Ray Scott in this movie. He is perfectly kind of, I mean, douchey and menacing. And, it is kind of perfect. Yeah. And, that was the hardest part about having to portray you, grinning like an idiot every 15 minutes.
Is that like a fourth wall? A little bit of like a
little bit,
just like a
Tom Cruise. Yeah.
He does. I don't know. He does he put on a big smile most of the time. He loves to really cheese it up.
I can't help it. Have you ever seen the clip of Ben Stiller playing Tom Cruise?
Oh yeah. Oh my god. And he just doing that laugh. Oh my god.
He acts like he's Tom Cruise's stunt double, and they're like together, and they're looking at each other, and they're both laughing, and they're both doing the like the
and then
the Tom
you can't
Cruise.
Tell if they're actually laughing or if it's just the imitation, and then like it's
so
man.
good.
Yeah,
it's so good. I love that video,
Tom.
and I'm pretty sure that was for this movie. I'm pretty sure that was a piece of this promotional material.
Yeah.
Let me see, Ben Stiller, Tom Cruise. Because I'm so curious about that now. It was a Mission Impossible parody. I just don't know when it was.
Let's see. It was... I see... Well...
Oh, they were working on Tropic Thunder. That makes sense.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. That's... Man.
God, I love that video, though. It is so fucking funny.
Yeah,
I can't even do it. That's what's crazy is Ben Stiller does an incredible Tom Cruise. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, but he is spoofing the opening of Mission Impossible 2. He's acting like he's climbing the rocks. That is what he's doing.
So, yeah. Okay. It is related. Okay. Yeah. I don't know.
And he calls himself Tom Cruise with 2 O's and a Z instead of like Cruise. Tom Cruise.
Yeah. He definitely entered cool guy mode, or this is his
big time.
Like John Wick era, if he has, if he has one. And the craziest bit of trivia that I read for this is that Doug Ray Scott was supposed to be Wolverine, and this movie caused him an injury on the motorcycles, which he couldn't do Wolverine. So
Hugh Jackman booked Wolverine because of this.
So
that's
in a weird way, Mission Impossible 2 got us Hugh Jackman for Wolverine.
In a weird way, the reason Deadpool and Wolverine exists is because of Tom Cruise.
Oh my god. Wow. It all circles back to Tom Cruise. It's just he is Hollywood.
Back to Tom Cruise.
He is. I mean, it just runs through him.
Oh man. And like I've said timeless times now. I enjoy these movies so much, and I love Tom Cruise as Ethan Hunt so much, and while this one is on the lower end of the spectrum.
Yeah.
We have so much to look forward to. So I don't really have much else to say about MI2. I think it was a great time.
It's simple.
But it is a super simple movie. A bit too long for its own good. But still pretty well edited in its action. The action is electric. Tom Cruise is really good. Thandie Wade Newton and him have some pretty solid chemistry. It's fun. It's a good time. So, and obviously we love Thandie Wade Newton and Anthony Hopkins. We got a little bit of the precursor to Westworld there, which is great.
Oh yeah.
But
yeah.
I don't have much else to say here.
Yeah, the little sand gun kick. Is that original? Is that like I feel like that's the first time I've ever seen.
Yeah,
that
I don't know that I've seen it anywhere else.
Yeah, that was sick. John, I feel like is that Tom Cruise or is that John Woo? Is that I feel like that's John Woo.
That's John Woo. Yeah, that's John Woo. That's some John Woo ass shit.
But yeah, I don't know. It just I could kind of tell while watching that it just wasn't quite number one.
I've built the franchise up quite a bit. When you get to a movie like this, you go, this must be one of the lesser ones then.
Yeah. It's fun.
Which there does
very,
have to be.
fun.
That like there's just going to be lesser movies. That's just how it is, especially across such a long time with so many different creatives and but ultimately it's still so much fun. So yeah, Mission Impossible 2 in the books. We look forward to Mission Impossible 3 next week. I'm going to do the plugs, and then we can rate this movie. It'll be an interesting one because I don't know really how I feel there as a numeric value. But if you would, go ahead and leave a 5-star rate and review and download wherever you might be listening. You can subscribe on YouTube. Just look up The Cinementalists as it's spelt here, wherever you are listening currently. Download these episodes because that is the only metric that I can keep track of, and it makes me feel good to see those downloads. March was a good month. Very, very good month. And April is looking solid as well. So we're doing good so far. Keep up the good work, team. Everybody keep doing their thing. You can follow me on Blue Sky at Colton Robertson. Interact with me any way you would like. I would love to talk about Mission Impossible with you. But we'll be back next week with Mission Impossible 3. And we've got Twin Peaks going on right now. We are nearing the end of the first season, if not freshly concluded. I can't remember one way or the other.
Next week is the end of season 1.
Yeah, we got the finale of season 1 of Twin Peaks next week, which is a big deal. If you've never seen Twin Peaks, that's cool. The podcast is for you. If you have seen Twin Peaks, perfect. The podcast is for you. It's for first-time watchers and rewatchers alike. I'm the rewatcher. Joseph has never seen the show, and it's a lot of fun. You do have to have watched the episode we're discussing, or else you will get spoilers. But yeah, it's a great time. It's a great time, so check that out. Let's go ahead and rate Mission Impossible 3. How are we feeling?
Yeah. Well, 9.5 for one.
Yeah, no,
we're not in the 9s.
I don't know about that.
We're not in the 8s.
I'm gonna go 7.5. I think it's it's 2 whole points below Mission Impossible.
Yeah. Mission Impossible 2. This is just -2. Mission Impossible -2. A little bit.
Yeah,
Even
yeah.
on
It's
the poster.
and that. It's still a fun. It's still a fun time. You know, it's still good. It's well done. The John Woo is incredible. I love him as an action director, and he does direct the shit out of some action. It's just we've got a lot of room to grow, and a lot of numbers will fall in this 2-point range. I can promise you that.
Yeah. I was never mad. I was never upset with the movie. I was never disappointed with it. It was more just kind of like, okay, you know, it's nice to look at. The action is cool. It's over. I can't believe what I'm seeing sometimes. But I want more of the espionage. I want more, I don't know. I want more writing kind of, to go in, I don't know, more instead of the flashy. I don't know. I like action, but not at this ratio, I think, is what it comes down to. But yeah,
I feel you completely.
Yeah, 75. It's still good. It's still above that good threshold, you know. Above a 7, I feel like is when it just starts to get. I'd say I like.
I agree.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I agree. I think we're. Yeah, I don't know. I'm interested to see where 3 goes, and if this is bottom of the barrel, this is a very good sign for the rest of the franchise because
we're in for a ride, buddy. We are in for a ride, and at a 7.5, 75% on the old Cinementalimeter.
There it is.
Mission Impossible 2 clocks in, and I'm ready for MI3, baby. I'm so ready. Got some of my favorite performances in the franchise. J.J. Abrams. I mean, again, Tom Cruise is responsible for the Star Wars sequel trilogy, you know, because J.J. Abrams had never directed a movie before. So how about that?
God damn.
But,
he's everywhere.
Yeah, look at that. Look at that. But actually, Tom Cruise booked John Boyega the role of Finn, basically. That news came out recently.
Wait, how?
He loved Attack the Block, a movie with John Boyega in it,
Really?
and he was editing MI4 with J.J. Abrams, and they were like, yeah, you should check out this guy. But, yeah, we'll conclude it there.
Wow. The man.
The man. But, yeah, I was Colton Robertson. I was joined by Joseph George. Thank you very much, homie.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it's always a pleasure to have you. And remember, that punk put a hole in my Versace.